All right, so we've left NOLA and we've made it back to Potomac. What's going to happen now? And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 4, episode 7. As I said, the girls have actually returned to Potomac. First thing we see is over at Robin's house. Robin is actually, well, she's not at her house. She's actually at the field. And her boys, they're getting big. They are getting big. Like, they're like literally getting tall. And the one baby that was actually playing baseball, he's playing baseball. I think it was baseball. Yeah, I think it was baseball. But he looks just like Juan. He is looking just like Juan, but they are actually getting tall. They're really growing up. So I was like, okay, so they were, she was canceling her party invitation for Monique because she was at her child's game. Gizelle was actually at her house. She was canceling her invitation because one of her twins are sick. So I was like, oh, wow. So then we seen Monique, and she was saying, if one more person cancels, was like, girl, it was what it was. But she was at home getting all of her stuff together. So now let's just go jump right into the party. So, I saw Chris's mother. I seen her. I was like, it's a shame because I don't even know that lady. I don't even know that lady. But I got a little disdain from when she came on before. She was just so fucking extra that I'm just like, Chris, get your mother. I don't want to say that bad about your mother, honey. She's standing around here looking just like you, honey. Get your mother, honey. But she was sitting up there. I said, maybe she's going to act nice. Honey, Ashley and Michael show up. Ashley had a cute little outfit on. Michael looked like shit. I was like, where'd he going? He looked like he was just going to go sit out on the balcony at their own house, but whatever. Child, I ain't even going there. Anyway, they see the mother. They said, let me introduce you to my mother-in-law. And Monique introduces Chris's mom. And she rolled that. And Michael says, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Went to reach to shake her. She goes, I don't let nobody shake my hand. Now, I didn't understand that. Did y'all understand that? Because, like, she wouldn't let him shake her hand, but she shook his hand. And I just said, see, lady, you just got some bullshit with you in general. You just be on that fuck shit just in general. So I was like, here she go. Then she said, I smell his stuff. What stuff, honey? What stuff of his do you smell, miss? And she was talking about the liquor on him. And she said, see, I'm not an alcoholic. I only drink Jesus. I said, says the devil, honey. That woman, I swear that woman I swear she got a forked tongue. I'm telling you. I said, girl, I was looking around for a tail, honey, with a spear on her ass. She was a mess. Anyway, a mess. Michael was actually really, really moved to tears. He seems to be having a harder time with the miscarriage actually than Ashley. And I think that might have been one of them little situations where I don't think Michael was really all that keen on wanting to have a baby with Ashley in the first place. And then once she found herself pregnant, I think he really got okay with the idea. And then when the baby was snatched away, it really hit him in the gut. Yeah. So he seems to be having a really hard time with the miscarriage. And he was really moved by the explanation of what rainbow babies were and all of that kind of stuff. So it was cool. Then we actually saw Karen and Ashley go to the side later on in the party, and Ashley invite Karen out. Just she said something, just the two of them, where they could just kind of like heal things that had gone on in the past. And I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, during that party, Monique was on the balcony. She's like standing up on the balcony, and all the guests were down on the bottom, and she was, doing the thank yous, and she was explaining everything. And then the mother-in-law wants to talk, and everybody was like. So I said, "Here we go, honey." And she said, "Oh, my mother-in-law wants to say something to you all, honey." When she went to hand her the mic, I was sitting. I'm shady. I was sitting in my living room, and I was like, "Hee haw, Damien, hee haw, Damien." I really was. I really was. I was like, what in the fuck is she getting ready to say? Child. But she got on there and she just apologized to Monique and all of that. And it was like nice. But I still don't trust her. I said, yeah, oh, Damien. I don't trust that lady. Anyway, so the next day, we got Chris and Monique and that mother-in-law sitting there, honey. That woman, I tell y'all, that woman does not feel as if she ever did anything wrong. She told him, I was just speaking my mind. And that's how I do. I speak my mind. And see, I feel like, Chris, you could just took it like, my mama, it's my mama, and my mama says what she wants, honey. And we were right back to square one, honey. And Monique was like, but you can't just say, see, she's pregnant. She's pregnant, and now she's in a position where she feel like she can say what she want. And she wasn't letting it go. She said, no, you can't just say what you want to anybody. That's not going to work. I said, come on through, Monique. Y'all don't even like Monique. I was like, come on through, Monique. Monique wasn't taking and having none of that bullshit she was shoveling out. She had this cute little bathing suit on and a cute little cover up. Now she looked real cute. She looked real cute at her party too. She really did. She didn't even get on my nerves or nothing like that. I was like, all right, Monique. But she's still not one of my faves. But she looked really nice. She's cute pregnant. She really is. She's cute pregnant. And I enjoyed her in New Orleans. In New Orleans, I really did enjoy Monique. She didn't do anything to bother me too much or anything. So she's cool. Anyway, but she was like, she ain't going for none of Granny's shit. I said, good. And then Chris took and straightened his mother right on out, told her, all the times when I wasn't speaking to you for like over a month. He was like, it was Monique that was telling me where's the last time you talked to your mother? She was getting on me about keeping in touch with you. So you might want to eat some of that shit. I was like, anyway, so they got her ass together. I'm sure she was ready to leave when she left their house. I'm sure she was good and ready to leave, honey. Anyway, then we sing this little scene with Ashley and Michael at the doctor's appointment. And again, it was just proof positive that I feel like Michael was having a harder time with the loss of the baby. And he actually said, I think we should do something, if we get pregnant, I think we should do something like this to celebrate. Because right now, this is making me feel bad, because we don't have, they're celebrating what happened after. We don't have an after. We're just kind of like stuck in what was actually there. And there was a point at the party where Monique gave other women who had any type of miscarriage or something a time to share, and they just showed Ashley sharing, which I was like, okay. And I'm sure there probably were more women that shared at the party. We just didn't see it. Karen started talking about, losing her parents or something, and I was like, it's not that party. But anyway, moving on. So Gizelle and her mother. Her mom came to visit her baby, and her mother is a shady number, honey. As soon as she starts talking about, like, oh, the trip was so nice, and then we seen Daddy, and this, that, and the other, her mother's like, I want to hear nothing about him. said, oh, damn. Her mother didn't play no games. She want to hear shit about that fucking daddy. So I don't want to hear none of that shit. And you know that Gizelle's trained because that bitch dropped that shit like a hot potato. Like, oh, okay. And move right on. She started talking about a house that she had seen and that she was really thinking about purchasing it and rehabbing the house. And her mother was like, don't do that to yourself. Because you know you like things done like yesterday. Listen, I've gone through like redoing my bathroom, not my bathroom, I'm sorry, my kitchen, and like redoing the whole downstairs. That's a nightmare. That is just a nightmare. Redoing, ooh, I kind of feel like that too. I think that if I buy another house, I want to buy a house that I can just walk in it and be like, okay, this is where I live. I don't want to have to change shit. It's a nightmare. That dust and people not doing things on time, and I don't know that I ever want to live through that again. That's a nightmare. I kind of agree with her mother. But anyway, that was that. So that was funny. But I got my wife off of what she gave her, honey. Your dad? What? Who? Bitch, I want to hear nothing about your goddamn daddy. I was like, okay, that was funny. Anyway, so we see Karen and Ashley actually meet up. They go to this place, and it's like a place of zen and a place to teach you how to kind of like just get into a zenful place, and some of that bullshit that you pay all that money for that they go to at all these shows. And the woman went right in and she took them to this place, the place in the on the grounds, and they sat down, and Karen was being Karen. She's being very cynical. She's like, this is some bullshit. All of this is some bullshit. The lady was teaching them the proper way to hug and how you hug. And she said most people hug and they hold their breath. And like, I don't think we really pay attention, but we really do that. Like when you hug people, you hold your breath. Like you don't want, well, when you're hugging just regular people, you hold your breath. I know I do. I do it. And if you think about it, you probably do too. When you hug people, when you embrace, you hold your breath. I don't know if it's that we don't want them to stink or something. But now listen, now dig this. Because when she said it, I said, oh my God, I do that. But when you hug somebody you like, you know what I mean. When you hug them, you don't hold your breath. You take them all in, honey. So I don't know what that's about, but that was just funny to me. I laughed about that. I was like, oh my God, we really do that. So she was teaching that, and then as soon as this, she's talking about, I'm going to touch you in some places where you hold stress and you hold. I was like, not about all that touching, but then especially when she said your sternum, I said, girl, you too close to the titties, too close to my belly, girl. I ain't about all that touching, bitch. I don't know you. And Karen was giving that. Karen was like, girl, I don't know about all this touching, child. So the lady got her, honey. She said, I'm going to touch you on your back, and I'm going to touch you here. And then she started talking about her. She said, I'm a medium as well. Karen wasn't trusting the process. She said, this is bullshit. They showed a little confessional. She's like, bullshit. I call bullshit. And then she told her, your father is actually here. He's right here. And I was holding him back, but he's basically saying that you got this, whatever's going on, you got it. And baby Karen, I said, see, soon as that happened, it turned everything around, honey. And Karen's ass damn near broke all the way. She had broke all the way. I said, wow, Karen. And y'all know I've been giving Karen a hard time. I really have, but I felt bad for Karen. I felt bad for her. That's ugly. It's ugly. I've not lost, my father, my biological father, he's dead. But that was no issue to me. That was no skin off my back, honey. He died. I don't do him like that. My mother is the whole other thing. Like, I can't even imagine how that's going to be once my mother passes on. And y'all know I've talked to y'all about my grandmother. I thought I would be completely fine with my grandmother after she passes on. But I have good days and bad days about my grandmother. You know what I mean? So I get it. You know, and I did. I thought, even after my grand passed, I thought I was fine until the day that I actually picked up the phone to call her. Like, child, you can't call her, honey. You can call her. You can call her, and it's actually an easier connection than you actually had when she was on the planet. But you just gotta get used to calling upon her that way. And once I got myself together and that, I'm cool with calling upon my Graham that way, and the conversations are better than the ones we had when she was here living walking distance from me, and the connection's a lot easier. But in the beginning, honey, that day when I reached for this, honey, no, you can't get Miss Thelma on here, baby. That's not gonna happen. Only a picture. Can't get Miss Thelma on there. So I get it. I get it, Karen. And I do give a hard time, but I get it. That thing broke her ass all the way down. Anyway, so we went through that whole little thing. Then Ashley started talking about her fears. And I felt kind of bad for her because when Karen said, "Is that what's been bothering you?" Well, she said, "I feel like I'm going to end up alone." And at first I was just thinking she was talking about Michael leaving her, and she was talking about Michael's morality. And I was like, not morality, Lord, his mortality. Oh, damn, James, wrong word. His mortality. But because he's 60. He's 60. And she said, girl, that baby, whenever you do give birth, and it will happen, that baby is going to give him more reason to stay around, and it's going to make him young again. And I believe that. I do believe that. I believe that. And I believe that Michael is completely on board at this point with his ass. I do. I believe he's on board. So that was interesting. That was very interesting with them too. Um, let's talk about Robin. Robin and Gladys, her mom Gladys, and Marcel, the little property guy. Hey, I don't know why I like him. I like that little Marcel for some reason. He seems a little like he might be a little shifty, but I like Marcel. And a few times he said he looked like he might be a little shifty, but I think I like him. Anyway, honey, it's supposed to been 5 months that the house will be done, and they've been selling the house. It has been 10 months. See, Gizelle, pay attention, girl. So that was what was going on with that. And I was like, poor Robin. Robin, she's so goofy. Child, she sit up there looking simple. And then she's like basing everything on, she started to irritate me. She said, I want to go ahead and get this house sold because I think once Juan sees my success, then, it will help with our relationship. Hold that, Robin. So you're telling me now you're in a position, are you at a place where you feel like you got to win Juan over? First of all, ma'am, you already married Juan once. You had not one, but two babies by Juan. Juan is frequenting between your legs whenever he sees fit. And you still feel like you got to win him over? Girl, you got a problem. You got a problem, bitch, and you're hearing it from me. Moving on. You might want to try Marcel, girl. Fuck is you giving? Anyway. So, Gizelle goes down to meet Candace at Chris's restaurant. And Candace isn't there. So she ends up spending some time with Chris. We like Chris. We like Chris a lot. Chris is cute and Chris is cool. We like Chris. And Gizelle said it. Girl, I like you better than her anyway. So she said what Chris said, I know most people do. I said, oh. Anyway, so it was what it was. Then Candace shows up, and Chris got up and he went on about his business. And they got to talking. And she was filling Gizelle in about things that happened at the party over Monique's house. And she was talking about Ashley's speech at the party. And then again, she was questioning the sincerity of Ashley's speech. I was like, ooh. She's still skeptical about Ashley and this getting pregnant thing. I'm like, oh God, Candace, let this go because this is looking ugly. Just let it go. And Giselle's telling her, let it go. Then she goes into this thing, and I said, you're opening up to the wrong person. And I think she understood after it was too late, but she got it. She was telling Gizelle about how Monique had said some things about Katie when they were in NOLA. And she was saying, something about how the difference in her, like how she used to be real nose up and very, and now she run around with her head wrapped up, and how Monique made a joke and said she looked like Amistad, and she's like, and did you laugh? And she's like, no, I didn't laugh. Yes, you did, bitch. You did laugh. And the fact that it was Monique, how Giselle really feels about Monique, she was on one. And almost immediately, Candace regrets saying anything. That's how gossip goes. And you done gossip to the wrong person, and it's going to be a shit show. So you might as well get ready. And that was it. I was like, oh, God. So here we go on the next step of the bullshit. Honey, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. Candace, you get ready to be in it. You're gonna be the girl that everybody loves to hate. You get ready to take on a lot because you just said too much to the wrong person. Stop that gossip and shit. It is what it is. All right, Candace, you got your foot in the shit now, girl. You gonna have to buy some new shoes. I promise you. Anyway, I'll catch y'all next week. Later.